The Galactic Command gathered in the vast, sterile briefing room, analyzing a holographic display of an unremarkable blue-green planet. Known to its inhabitants as Earth, it orbited a modest star on the fringes of the galaxy, a system so isolated and quiet that it barely registered on the Empire's maps. The assembled officers, each a veteran of countless conquests, observed the planet with mild interest, dismissing it as a backwater world populated by a species barely worthy of attention. An officer gestured at the planetary scans, smirking as he highlighted a few ships in orbit. Primitive and poorly armed, he noted. Hardly a fleet, more like floating wreckage compared to our standards. The data backed his assertion. Humanity's technology appeared archaic, the equivalent of a spear against their hyper-advanced weaponry. The ship's engines barely registered on command scanners, and their weapons lacked the energy output to pose any credible threat to the Empire's warships. Reports from scouts painted an even more unimpressive picture. Early reconnaissance indicated that the planet's civilizations were fractured, plagued by internal conflicts, and highly dependent on their fragile ecosystems. To Galactic Command, it was a world ripe for domination, with neither the unity nor the resources to resist. Another nameless addition to the Empire, one officer remarked, summarizing the general attitude in the room. If they even try to resist, I'd be surprised if they managed to fire a single shot. From the Empire's perspective, conquering Earth would be straightforward. The plan was simple. They'd arrive in force, transmit a surrender demand, and watch as humanity yielded without resistance. Intimidation had proven to be a powerful tool. Few civilizations dared challenge the Empire after seeing even a fraction of its might. For Galactic Command, Earth was a minor task, a mere dot on the galactic maps soon to be erased. Analyzing humanity's technological capabilities, Command found nothing worth considering an asset. Their communication systems were unsophisticated and heavily reliant on physical infrastructure. Their AI tech was shockingly basic, with limited autonomy, unlike the Empire's systems, which operated as an extension of Command's own will. Command considered this a failing, a sign of humanity's lack of foresight and strategic ability. The humans hadn't even unified under a single planetary government, a fact that brought laughter and derision from the officers. How do they expect to survive in this galaxy if they can't even cooperate with their own kind? Another officer quipped. The Empire's disdain deepened as they studied Earth's defenses. A few scattered satellites, a handful of orbital stations, and a small contingent of ships were all that stood between them and planetary control. The officers assumed these remnants were barely functional. They expected Earth's military defenses to fold instantly under pressure, too disorganized to mount any real resistance. Even if some citizens chose to fight, the Empire's forces would be more than capable of quelling such resistance swiftly and ruthlessly. The decision to conquer was made without hesitation. Command did not consider it a matter of if, but how quickly. The Galactic Commander stood, his expression one of boredom and barely concealed amusement. Transmit the surrender ultimatum as soon as we arrive, he instructed, dismissing the possibility of any meaningful engagement. His officers nodded, already strategizing about how to deploy their forces with minimal energy and effort. They'd deliver a show of force just sufficient to subdue, nothing more. This primitive world would hardly require more than a token force, a few battleships, some scouts, and standard ground deployment for establishing a command outpost. Yet, even as Galactic Command dismissed Earth as an inevitable addition to their territory, there was a certain eagerness among them. A swift conquest would further prove their superiority, another mark of dominance in a long history of victorious campaigns. They saw themselves as guardians of civilization, bringing order to lesser worlds. Earth, they believed, was simply another species that would soon see the wisdom in compliance. As the officers filed out, finalizing orders and preparing to move forward with the conquest, the last murmurs reflected their assuredness. "I give it less than a cycle," one commented to another. "We'll have this Earth under control before they even realize we've arrived." None of them questioned this assumption. None of them could imagine that the primitive species they looked down on might be capable of anything beyond submission. The Empire's broadcast cut through the silence of Earth's orbit like a blade, a chilling demand for surrender transmitted across every channel. The message was clear, almost mocking in its tone: humanity was to submit unconditionally to the Empire's authority. But as the transmission echoed across Earth's communication networks, there was no response. The planet remained silent, unmoving, almost serene in the face of the Empire's arrival. Galactic Command monitored the lack of reply with smug satisfaction, interpreting it as a sign of human weakness, proof that Earth's inhabitants had already accepted their fate. The Empire, unable to conceive of any other reason for Earth's silence, grew overconfident. For Galactic Command, this quiet was just another confirmation of what they'd expected. They imagined Earth's leaders cowering, paralyzed by the inevitability of the Empire's dominance, too overwhelmed to even respond. This perceived surrender bolstered their arrogance, fueling the idea that Earth would fall with minimal effort. The commanders saw no need to rush, certain that the mere presence of their fleet would be enough to bring humanity to its knees. On Earth, however, silence was far from submission. In hidden command rooms and fortified bunkers, humanity's leaders were anything but idle. Military strategists, scientists, and political heads convened in secret, discussing their options with steely resolve. They knew the Empire's reputation and understood that they were at a significant disadvantage in terms of firepower and technological sophistication. But surrender wasn't an option. Humanity had been here before, faced with impossible odds and insurmountable challenges. And time and again, humanity had adapted. Earth's leaders crafted a strategy that relied not on brute strength but on precision, creativity, and calculated deception. They knew that, if they engaged the Empire in a direct confrontation, they would be crushed. Instead, they opted for a tactical approach, leveraging every possible advantage. The lack of response to the Empire's transmission wasn't fear, it was intentional. By maintaining radio silence, Earth's leaders kept their true capabilities hidden. They would wait, holding back until the Empire drew close enough for a single, coordinated strike. In underground military complexes, teams of engineers and technicians worked around the clock, tuning every last detail of Earth's defenses. Humanity's fleet was modest but designed with a different kind of warfare in mind. Earth's ships were built to be agile and adaptive, using advanced AI systems to make up for their lack of raw power. Rather than heavy armaments, they were outfitted with precision weaponry and enhanced maneuverability. Engineers made last-minute modifications, loading the ships with countermeasures and devising strategies to disrupt the Empire's scanning systems, aiming to keep their fleet hidden until the perfect moment. Human pilots were briefed with grim determination, aware of the risks but committed to the plan. They understood that they weren't just fighting for themselves but for the survival of everyone on Earth. Each pilot knew their role within the larger strategy, their movements coordinated down to the millisecond by AI-assisted command systems. While the Empire relied on overwhelming force, Earth would rely on coordinated, unpredictable tactics to exploit the Empire's rigidity. Pilots ran through their routines, checking weapon systems and rehearsing evasive maneuvers, preparing for the moment when they would strike back. Meanwhile, Earth's tactical AIs conducted endless simulations, analyzing possible outcomes and refining the timing of the counterattack. These AIs weren't as powerful as the Empire's systems, but they were clever and adaptive, designed specifically to work alongside human decision-makers. Earth's tactical software specialized in improvisation, capable of adjusting to sudden changes and exploiting weaknesses as they appeared. For weeks, these systems had been running in the background, collecting data and forming strategies that would give humanity the best possible chance of surprising their vastly superior adversary. As humanity's forces continued their preparations, the Empire's fleet advanced, unaware of the trap being set for them. The Empire's sensors occasionally picked up faint traces of activity, an anomalous energy signature here, an odd movement there, but dismissed them as irrelevant background noise. Galactic Command, convinced of its superiority, saw no need to investigate further. They believed that Earth's silence indicated submission, and any lingering doubts were brushed aside. Finally, all was ready. Humanity's fleet lay dormant, cloaked by technological countermeasures, hidden from the Empire's scans as they made final preparations. Pilots settled into their ships, their minds clear and focused, braced for the inevitable. Engineers double-checked systems, ensuring every weapon and shield generator was primed for action. And deep within Earth's command centers, strategists stood by, watching the Empire's fleet draw closer with a mixture of apprehension and resolve. As the Empire inched into range, humanity remained quiet, every movement calculated, every plan finalized. They knew the stakes and understood that their survival hinged on timing, precision, and the element of surprise. Earth's silence held, a calm before the storm that the Empire mistook for fear. But humanity was anything but defeated. They were waiting, prepared to show the Empire that they were not a passive target, but a force ready to fight back with everything they had. As the Empire's fleet settled into orbit around Earth, commanders took their positions with confidence. The Empire's warships, sleek and ominous, shifted into attack formations. To Galactic Command, this was routine, a demonstration of power to cement Earth's inevitable submission. With a few clicks and gestures, orders were given, and the first assault began. The Empire's opening salvo fired toward Earth's defensive perimeter, anticipating no serious resistance. Energy beams and plasma bolts ripped through space, aimed at the supposedly fragile Earth fleet. To the Empire, this was little more than a show, a quick demonstration of what would happen should humanity dare to oppose them. From their view, Earth's small, stationary ships posed no challenge. Galactic Command watched, expecting their display to terrify and demoralize. But the moment those first beams approached, Earth's fleet came to life. One by one, ships fired up engines, spinning and darting in unexpected patterns. Small, agile, and seemingly chaotic, Earth's vessels began weaving through the Empire's attacks with a speed and precision that caught commanders off guard. Galactic Command's scanners struggled to keep up as Earth's ships evaded with unpredictable, erratic maneuvers, avoiding the Empire's fire with ease. In an instant, the Empire's commanders went from smug certainty to frustration, watching Earth's fleet move in ways they hadn't anticipated. Humanity's tactics became clear, coordinated, relentless, and unlike anything the Empire had seen. Earth's ships operated as a cohesive unit, moving in perfect synchronization, reacting to each attack as if controlled by a single mind. The Empire had expected to face unorganized, inexperienced pilots. Instead, Earth's fleet performed intricate formations, splitting into small groups to confuse the Empire's targeting systems, exploiting blind spots, and weaving in and out of each other's paths with breathtaking precision. From Earth's command centers, tactical AIs guided each move with real-time analysis, coordinating human pilots who had trained for this exact moment. Every ship was placed with intent, each action pre-calculated to maximize confusion within the Empire's ranks. Empire ships, designed for straightforward brute force, found themselves scrambling to adjust. Their powerful targeting systems, typically unchallenged, struggled to lock onto Earth's erratic, smaller vessels. Frustration began to creep into the Empire's ranks as human ships outmaneuvered their every attempt to strike. Then came the first counterattack. Earth's fleet moved swiftly, exploiting gaps in the Empire's formations. Small fighter ships advanced, targeting weak points in the Empire's defenses, aiming for shield generators and weapon systems. Earth's weaponry, though modest in appearance, had been meticulously designed to exploit specific vulnerabilities. Focused energy beams and high-speed projectiles targeted joints in the Empire's ships, slipping through their shields with surprising effectiveness. What the Empire had dismissed as primitive weaponry was, in reality, far more specialized, and far more destructive than they had imagined. The first Empire ship took a direct hit. An unexpected jolt rippled through it, throwing the crew into chaos. Alarms blared, and Galactic Command watched, stunned, as the ship's system stuttered, flickered, and then died. A plume of fire burst from the ship's side, scattering debris as it drifted, immobilized. To the Empire, this was unthinkable, a ship taken down by a world they thought would pose no threat. Humanity's counterattacks continued, small groups of Earth's fighters chipping away at key vessels, exposing weak points and isolating them from the main fleet. The Empire's commanders felt a growing tension as more of their ships took damage, forced to pull back from Earth's relentless, unexpected assault. They had anticipated a quick victory, not a drawn-out engagement. And yet, each move they made seemed to be anticipated by humanity's fleet, as if Earth's commanders were reading their thoughts. Every formation they shifted into was countered, each maneuver met with an equally agile response. The Empire's mighty vessels found themselves outpaced, outmaneuvered, and outthought by Earth's primitive technology. Humanity's tactics continued to evolve mid-battle, adapting with each volley, exploiting the Empire's growing desperation. Earth's leaders knew they couldn't match the Empire in sheer firepower, but they mastered agility and precision. As the Empire's ships faltered, human pilots surged forward with renewed confidence, delivering pinpoint strikes that disabled weapons systems, ruptured fuel lines, and sent explosions rippling through hulls. A psychological shift rippled through the Empire's ranks. For the first time, their elite forces were struggling against what they'd assumed to be an inferior foe. Galactic Command was silent, watching the battle shift against them with disbelief. What they had assumed would be an easy, one-sided encounter was rapidly becoming a tactical nightmare. Humanity's tactics, precision strikes, and seemingly unbreakable coordination had shifted the power dynamic. As more Empire ships were damaged and forced to fall back, a realization settled over the Empire's commanders. They had severely underestimated Earth's capability and resolve. The battle was no longer an exercise in domination, it had become a true test of survival against a species whose resilience was unlike anything they had encountered before. The Empire's commanders could no longer ignore the reality unfolding before them. What had begun as a simple display of power to subdue a supposedly inferior civilization had turned into a brutal engagement that threatened to unravel the Empire's dominance. With every hit taken, every system faltering, their certainty eroded further. Earth's fleet, agile and precise, moved like a well-oiled machine, exploiting every weakness in the Empire's formidable, yet rigid, formations. More Empire ships began sustaining critical damage, and the once confident Galactic Command found itself struggling to adapt to a battlefield where their traditional strategies were failing. As the battle raged, it became clear that humanity had an uncanny ability to predict and counter each Imperial maneuver. Earth's commanders anticipated moves before the Empire even made them, and with every Empire ship disabled, Earth's pilots grew bolder. Galactic Command's fear grew palpable, their once reliable, well-practiced tactics now a liability. Their formations, designed to dominate through overwhelming firepower and sheer size, became an entanglement, slowing them down and creating choke points that humanity's swift ships exploited with brutal precision. Realizing they were on the defensive, the Empire's commanders began scrambling to reform their lines. But Earth's fleet had no intention of letting them regroup. Humanity seized the momentum, moving in unison to press the assault. Earth's smaller, faster ships darted into the gaps of the Empire's formation, delivering concentrated fire onto critical targets. Imperial ships, used to battles where size and intimidation won the day, were thrown off by Earth's unrelenting pressure, their massive frames forced to fend off waves of attacks from all angles. In the heart of the conflict, the Earth Destroyer, humanity's most advanced warship, took center stage. Equipped with specialized weaponry designed to bypass standard shielding, it became a juggernaut in the face of the Empire's fleet. The Earth Destroyer pinpointed weaknesses in the Empire's command structure, delivering strikes that tore through defenses and left ships reeling. Each hit seemed to deliver a new blow to the Empire's morale. The Empire's larger ships, cumbersome and slow to adapt, struggled to fend off the destroyer's focused attacks, while humanity's smaller vessels capitalized on the chaos, disrupting Imperial systems and causing panic among their ranks. In a daring move, the Earth Destroyer locked onto the Empire's command ship, the vessel housing the Empire's top commanders. Tactical precision guided its weapon systems, unleashing a concentrated barrage that tore into the command ship's hull. Alarms blared across the Empire's fleet as the command ship staggered, flames and debris spilling from its sides. A cascade of internal explosions rippled through it, crippling the vessel as control systems failed one by one. Galactic Command was stunned, their view of the battle reduced to chaos, unable to grasp how a primitive, species had inflicted this kind of damage. With the command ship on the brink of destruction, the realization spread across the Empire's fleet. They were losing, not just the battle, but their grip on dominance. Earth's advance had shifted from defense to outright offensive, forcing the Empire's commanders to reassess the situation with mounting dread. For the first time in generations, an Empire fleet was facing a retreat. Orders were shouted, tactical consoles recalibrated, and crews braced as the decision became clear. The retreat call went out, rippling through the Empire's ranks as commanders, unwilling to sacrifice any more ships, made the grim decision to fall back. The Empire's fleet began its withdrawal, engines flaring as they pulled away from Earth's forces, abandoning the idea of conquest in favor of survival. The shattered remains of once mighty ships drifted in their wake, a silent testament to humanity's strength and adaptability. Humanity's fleet held its position, watching as the Empire's forces receded, not in pursuit but resolute, leaving a clear message of their intention to defend, not conquer. For the Empire, the battle had been a catastrophic revelation, an undeniable shift in their understanding of humanity's capabilities. For Earth, it was the beginning of a new era, a turning point where they'd proven, not only to the Empire but to the galaxy, that they would not be an easy target. As the Empire's battered fleet broke formation and began their retreat, disbelief settled over the alien commanders. They had come expecting submission, an effortless victory over a species they'd dismissed as primitive. Instead, they had faced a force that had outmaneuvered, outwitted, and ultimately defeated them. The ships of Galactic Command, once symbols of terror and control, now drifted away from Earth's orbit, carrying the scars of a battle they never anticipated losing. Earth's fleet watched them go, standing firm, making it clear this was a defense, not a pursuit, and certainly not an act of conquest. Humanity's stance was unmistakable. They would defend themselves, but had no interest in instigating further war. Back on Earth, human leaders seized the moment. Understanding the importance of their victory and the message it sent, they prepared a broadcast directed not just at the Empire but to the galaxy at large. The transmission cut through the void, reaching distant civilizations both large and small, carrying with it a declaration of resilience and peace. Humanity's leaders expressed their commitment to protecting their own, their desire for peaceful coexistence, and a promise to defend themselves against any who sought to threaten their sovereignty. The message was calm, humble, but filled with a sense of quiet defiance. For many listening across the stars, it was a rare voice of independence in a galaxy shadowed by the Empire's dominance. The galaxy reacted swiftly to the news of Earth's victory. Within days, stories spread among distant planets, systems that had long lived under the Empire's watchful eye. Earth's unexpected success brought a surge of hope to smaller civilizations that had long been subjugated by the Empire's iron grip. On worlds where the Empire's rule had felt unbreakable, murmurs of defiance began to stir. To them, Earth was a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even the most powerful could be challenged. There was a feeling in the air that the Empire's era of unchecked authority might not be as unshakable as once believed. On the fringes of the Empire's control, rebellions that had been dormant began to show signs of life. Local leaders who had resisted imperial rule in silence found inspiration in humanity's actions, and alliances once thought impossible started to form. For the first time, smaller civilizations looked to Earth, not merely as another species among many, but as a symbol of defiance and the possibility of a future without the Empire's shadow looming over them. The Empire itself faced an internal reckoning. Commanders, diplomats, and officials scrambled to assess the implications of their loss. Earth, a backwater planet they'd barely considered, had exposed the vulnerabilities of their fleet, making them question the very strategies they'd relied on for centuries. The defeat forced them to acknowledge a truth that had long been ignored. There were cracks in their armor, and Earth had not only exposed them but had shown the galaxy that they could be exploited. For the first time, the Empire's supremacy was openly challenged, not through rebellion, but through strategic brilliance, adaptability, and unity. Humanity's triumph had sent a shockwave across the stars, and the Empire was left to contemplate a galaxy that no longer saw them as invincible. Within humanity's ranks, the victory marked the beginning of a new era. Engineers, scientists, and strategists who had pushed the boundaries of Earth's defenses now found themselves at the forefront of interstellar recognition. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not merely as another species, but as a force capable of holding its own against the galaxy's mightiest power. Discussions began, whispers of new alliances, potential trade routes, and possible collaborations with civilizations previously isolated by the Empire's influence. Humanity's message had reached those who had lost hope, and in Earth, they saw a potential ally and leader, a beacon of what might be possible. The galaxy's future had shifted, and Earth was now a part of it, standing as a testament to resilience, intelligence, and a fierce commitment to independence. The Empire had retreated, but the reverberations of humanity's triumph continued, reshaping alliances, reigniting the fires of resistance, and reminding all who heard the message that power could be challenged, and that even the smallest voice could make itself heard among the stars.